Hello, my friend. It's been a while, hasn't it? Oh, calm down. I'm afraid I've had to cast a silence spell on you for the moment. Can't have you trying to interrupt me with an outburst or a fireball, now, can I? I can see the annoyance in your eyes. Yes, I know that fireball has been banned, and most of the necromantic arts as well, but I was alive when the world discovered mana. I was there when the first fireball was cast, and when the secret of lichdom was discovered. I was among the first to complete the ritual successfully. I didn't invent magic. I was merely the first to write it down. I will not be told by anyone how to use it. If you choose to follow someone else's orders, that's on your head. But I know that it doesn't take much for a true believer to ignore the rules. At some point, if only just once, if only for the greater good. I don't need a spell to read your mind at this point. That's not what I brought you here for. Have it your way, then. I lured you here to ask if you would like to make a deal with me. One which will give you an out. Ironically enough, you won't even be tempted to use a fireball on me. I know you have no reason to trust me, but if I wanted to, little elf, I could have already left this place wearing your body instead of this tattered thing. What I want from you is almost embarrassingly simple. I would like you to hear a story. One I have never told anyone, and hear it in full. What you choose to do with it afterwards is up to you. In exchange, I will personally hand you my phylactery to destroy. I have my reasons. You'll understand when I'm done. I would prefer not to waste any more of my mana on you, my friend. Will you agree to my terms or not? Because I know you. I know you will fulfill an agreement in letter and spirit alike. Yes, I have been a stickler to a fault for the letter of the law. Do you hear a loophole in any of this which is big enough for me to wriggle through? Thank you. I'm going to dispel the silence now. There. Better to talk things out as peers and out loud. Don't be ridiculous, my friend. We may be the only true peers we have, you and I. We have always respected each other for all these centuries, have we not? Even when we were on opposite sides of the battlefield. If anyone has earned the right to put a final tally on my days, it's you. Then, let me begin. Never let it be said I wasted anyone's times. Especially an elf's time. For the last half-century, I've been exploring other planes of existence. The elemental planes, the astral plane, others too. And they became so dreadfully dull after a while. Even the chaos of pandemonium was predictable. I did at least get to humiliate the unseelie queen. It's true. I am now persona non grata in the Phalanx, and it was worth every second to insult that pompous fraud down to her soul, with her entire court watching. Every one of them knowing they couldn't touch me. Beyond that, I got bored with the standard multiverse. Standard, yes. You see, one day I happened to watch something. A video talking about your physicists and the idea of multiple realities, multiple timelines, a multiverse explicable by their mere math. And my first thought was to wonder, has anyone ever attempted to cross that threshold? Of course I did. I spent years in research figuring out how to combine various magics to create a spell that would open the gate to parallel timelines, other universes, any imagining of reality you can envision. And once I was ready, I cast the spell in the middle of open land. What happened was the breach. That's what happened. Do you remember? The day when the horizon split open and made a portal between our world and a world full of monster girls and other hybrids? That little disruption in the fabric of reality? Would I be telling you this if it wasn't true? Do you think this is something to brag about, you bubble-tongued oaf? Take care, sorcerer. We have fought on opposite sides of wars, but no matter how evil you think me, you know I have never inflicted suffering for the sake of pleasure. Don't take my indifference for sadism. May I continue, sorcerer? Or are there other pointless digressions you'd like to chase? There was a Lamia who came through the breach. I watched her come through. She saw me and came bolting at me so quickly I barely mist-walked out of her way in time. Of course she did. What would you have done in her place? I had to put her in a force cage long enough for us to talk and work out what had happened. And by the time we were on less homicidal terms, it was too late. The opening between the worlds was gone, and there was no hope of returning her home. It broke her in a way I have never seen, not even in the nastiest wars we've fought in. She wasn't in a foreign land. She was in a foreign plane of existence. She would never be able to go home again. And even though she was standing face to face with the person responsible for it, she would always be powerless to punish me. It destroyed her. And seeing that pain, that utter helplessness, broke me. Again, for the first time since I became a Lich. Why do you think I took up magic, sorcerer? I was broken before the world invented writing. I'm not like you, the magical equivalent of a trust fund baby. I worked for my magic. Sometimes I had to create it. The mist walk you all take for granted, for centuries it carried my name on it. Aegon's smoking step. I lived to see my name spoken with fear and respect by the descendants of people who tried to crush my spirit before I was grown. And then I lived to see it forgotten, almost entirely. By the time that happened, I had better things to do. Deeper studies to pursue. Did you never really put it together what the artifacts we both chased after had to do with the fossils and saints' relics I searched for? I was looking for boundaries to cross, between planes of existence, between realities as I understood them. You suspected. Your mannerisms give you away, my elven friend. Still too haughty to admit you had no idea what I was up to. You knew I was a lich and therefore something to be thwarted. And what do you think, sitting here now, patiently listening to me unburden myself? Well, I don't believe you either when you say that. We know each other better than anyone who ever knew us, living or dead. More than anyone else, you ought to know what it means for me to say. I almost wept to see the look in her eyes when we both knew the portal had closed. Oh, she tried a few more times to put a coil around me. Once she was almost successful. And when she finally gave up, she fell to the ground, silent for so long that I thought she'd lost consciousness. When I got close enough to see that her eyes were open, she looked into mine. And when her rage gave way to grief, she began wailing and howling as if all sentience had left her. As if the massive snake woman was gone and an orphaned baby monkey was left in her place. I've watched humans suffer with the same indifference you might have for a hornet writhing in a jar of gasoline. For centuries upon centuries, I learned to see humanity as something akin to that hornet. But she wasn't human, and that made her different. To see her pain was the first time I'd felt compassion since I became a lich. I had to use a charm spell that day to cure her agony. That's how seriously I took it. Yes. And it still wasn't enough to save her. In the end, her soul was bitter in my mouth. But I was doing her a kindness when I consumed it. You could say she gave me back a piece of my humanity. But I didn't want my humanity back. The whole point of my unlife has been to shed it. It was too limiting to keep and too painful. I tried to wish them all back home, fool. I think I was successful with some, but there are lines even a wizard cannot mistwalk across. And as it turns out, the barriers between realities are among them. In the end, I only brought more of them into this world. As I said, I have never made anyone suffer for my pleasure. To cause suffering, especially suffering at that scale and from nothing greater than my idle curiosity, is the one thing that has made me question becoming a lich. It's what brought me here today, with you. What I mean is, I want to learn the outer limits of magic, to exhaust the possibilities of that power. And after those millennia of study, I have instead caused harm on a scale that even I cannot fix. Go ahead. Lay every insult you can on my head. You cannot call me anything worse than I've already called myself. Does there need to be more to the story, my friend? That one or mine? Because there isn't. I have done the one thing I could actually consider a sin. I cannot make it right again. There must be consequences for that, don't you agree? You've honored the first half of our bargain. I've said my piece. Now, it's time for you to honor the other half. Here is my yes, that. My durable spellbook all along. You look at me as though I've cheated, my friend. I promise you I haven't. There's a catch to durable, a secret I will tell you now. We all know the book cannot be destroyed by fire or water. It can, however, be torn apart magically, its pages shredded by a simple dagger cloud, when cast by a sufficiently powerful mage, like yourself, or me. When you do, you will have destroyed my tether to undeath. When you take my life afterward, it will be permanent. Then, we'll do it together. Observe. There. And now we can burn it. There. It's gone. All that's left is for you to do, more or less, the same to me. I didn't become a lich lightly. I thought I wanted to live forever, or something close to it. I tried to do this without you, and I couldn't. I'll have a seat, here on the ground. I won't even ask you to make it painless. I only ask you to make it swift. I didn't say I deserved that mercy. I merely asked for it. Don't even think of reneging, my friend. Especially not if you think you're going to force me to live in shame and guilt until I die from other causes or some other sentimental schlock. I will create a new phylactery if you do. And yours will be the first soul I feed on afterward. Good. And sorcerer? Thank you for knowing the real reason I should die and making it happen. It's why I chose you. I knew you would. I'm ready. Thank you to this week's patrons, Colby Walmsley, KirbyBoy564, Incarnus, and Zora. Are you guys glad that multi-parter is done? Because I am so glad to be getting back to regular script fills. We have some really exciting audios coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I hope you guys look forward to it. Thank you. Bye.